This is ANN News Brief.
Liberia Civil Service Union says it has called off an indefinite strike that began on Monday over pay and benefits after the union was urged to reach an agreement with the government. At least 73,000 strong members, which represent lower-level government employees, including teachers, had boycotted work over what the union calls Liberia government's failure to meet their demands, including payment of salary arrears. On Monday, Liberia's Ministry of Education announced the closure of all government-run schools as the teachers and civil servants embarked on the nationwide strike. Union leader Moiba Johnson says the decision to call it off was reached after consultations with the religious officials and senior civil servants. Johnson says civil servants were returning to work as negotiations continue. The strike was largely heated across Liberia on Monday, as many civil servants have not been paid for several months. The strike spurred the government to disburse October's salaries. South Sudan's President Salva Kiir and former rebel leader Riek Machar have agreed to form a transitional unity government before a new deadline, even if they fail to resolve all of their differences. The United States says it was redefining its relationship with South Sudan after the two leaders failed to meet last month's deadline. The two leaders had postponed the formation of 100 days, prompting Washington to recall its ambassador and raising fears the civil war that created the worst refugee crisis in Africa since the Rwandan genocide might resume. The United Nations, United States, and other countries want Kiir and Machar to sign a peace deal to end a 5-year civil war. Kiir said at a joint news conference with the former rebel leader Machar in the capital Juba that the ceasefire will continue to hold and no one from them is willing to go back to war. On Monday, the U.S. imposed sanctions on two senior South Sudanese officials for their role in perpetuating the conflict and said it was ready to impose other measures on anyone seeking to derail the peace process. We'll be right back.
Whether in your house, at your office, on your phone or online, we are there. We have the facts behind the headlines. We cut to the chase with the news you really need. We cover every angle. We are the bigger, better news network. We are African News Network. ANN. Watch ANN News on MITV from a truly African spirit.
The Ethiopian government has unveiled a new economic reform blueprint called Homegrown Economic Reform to unlock the country's development potentials. The newly introduced initiative, among other things, outlined microeconomic, structural and sectoral reforms that are set to pave the way for job creation, poverty reduction and inclusive growth. While unveiling the new economic reform agenda at the UN Conference Center in the capital Addis Ababa, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said the initiative aims to propel Ethiopia into becoming the African icon of prosperity by 2030. The initiative gives special emphasis to sectors such as agriculture, manufacturing, mining, tourism, and information communication and technology. That is ANN News Brief at 4. Join us again at 5 for our full newscast. For details on these and other breaking stories, visit our website, annafrica.news. Conversation continues on our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ANN Africa TV. I'm Lucy Adeyemi.